Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. I'm going to be talking about every movie I watched last week, and I believe I watched 18 movies last week, so pretty decent week. Yeah, before we get into it, make sure you follow my letterbox, link in the description. I'd really appreciate it if you followed me, because Mel has made it her mission now to have more followers than me on Letterboxd. I have 39 followers, which isn't very many, and she has now over 200 because she is just following anyone and everyone pretty much. And she has more followers than me, and it's just a fun game for her now. So, anyways, follow me on Letterboxd. Yeah, let's get into it. Let's start it off with my least favorite watch of the week, which was Phantom of the Paradise, directed by Brian De Palma. And this is an okay movie. It's not really a movie I enjoyed a whole lot, to be honest. I enjoyed the inspiration and the ode to Phantom of the Opera, which I do really enjoy. But overall, this movie's just fine, I guess. I ranked it a 56 out of 100. It's pretty bizarre, is I think the best way to describe it. So, and that's going to be one of the themes of the week, Brian De Palma. So we'll get back to that in a moment. But let's move on to, I believe, the newest movie on this list, which is Mononoke the Movie, Chapter 2, The Ashes of Rage, which I think came out earlier this year in Japan, but just came out on Netflix this week. Ranked it a 60 out of 100. I watched the first one that came out on Netflix last year. I watched it last year in December. Ranked it a 50 out of 100. I feel like I did enjoy this movie more, but ultimately I feel like both of these movies are a little hard to follow at at times, and they're also a little overwhelming. But yeah, I would like to. There's supposed to be a trilogy, I believe. The third one's supposed to come out next year, and I think I'll probably watch all three of them together to see if maybe that helps me in any way. But yeah, rank this as 60 out of 100. It was decent. Let's move on to Captain America Brave New World, which I watched with my mother and Mel, who both watched it for the first time. This is actually only the second time I watched this. I usually see most Marvel or superhero movies in theaters twice. I've only seen this one once. Same with Superman, actually. And ranked this as 66 out of 100. So it actually went up about 8 points from a 58 to a 66, which was surprising. I actually enjoyed this more than I remembered enjoying it the first time around. And I also noticed how just bad this movie looks. This movie looks really bad, but overall I think it's decent. I don't see my rating really changing much from that 66 upon another rewatch in the future. So yeah, 66 out of 100. Let's move on to another Brian De Palma film, which is Dressed to Kill, which I ranked a 72 out of 100. I didn't mention it, but Phantom of the Paradise is my least favorite De Palma movie, and then this one is my second least favorite. So, kind of funny how that works, I guess. But yeah, I think if Brian De Palma is good at anything, it's creating tension and anxiety-inducing scenes in really tight spaces and sequences, like the opening 20 minutes of this movie suggest. Sorry, I could hear Betty doing something. I wasn't sure. I needed to check on her. Anyways, she's fine. So yeah, Dressed to Kill, decent movie, good movie, I'd say even. It's got a very interesting twist at the end as well. Not something that I was expecting. And yeah, ultimately quite a unique movie actually. So that's cool. 72 out of 100. Let's move on to Mission to Mars, which is another Brian De Palma film, and this is one that kind of surprised me. This is really like left field compared to the rest of his filmography, I feel. Similar to Phantom of the Paradise, at least, or I should say as well, because both of those are kind of like outside of his comfort zone, but I like seeing directors take a leap of faith and go into a different genre of film, and that's definitely what this is. Mission to Mars especially, it's a very sci-fi movie. It's all about Mars and then the creation of humanity and the universe, and it's quite entertaining. Ranked at 74 out of 100. I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, so yeah, I thought that was good. Let's move on to Turtles All the Way Down, which I ranked a 78 out of 100, which I believe is based on a novel. And truthfully, there's only two reasons I watched this movie. One, because Isabella Merced, and two, because it's a Crave or HBO Max original, and I want to make a list on Letterboxd on my top 10 Crave slash HBO Max originals, and I haven't watched 10, so this was kind of to help with that. Overall, though, kind of left this movie feeling satisfied. I enjoyed this movie. Ranked it a 78 out of 100. Felt like it's a kind of a feel-good coming-of-age, even though it's quite a unique take on a coming-of-age story, I feel. But, yeah, thought it was good. 78 out of 100. I enjoyed it. Well, let's move on to one of the most popular movies, perhaps ever, which is Dead Poets Society, which I ranked an 81 out of 100. Thought this was a very well-made movie, definitely entertaining as well, and the ending sucked. It didn't suck. It was just obviously heart-wrenching, and it was hard to witness, unfortunately, so that kind of sucked. But yeah, overall, this is a very well-made movie. This is a great movie. Yeah, ranked it an 81 out of 100. Thought it was great. Let's move on to Scarface, which I ranked an 82 out of 100. Watching some big movies this week. Both of them I needed to get off my watch list, so I'm glad I finally did. And Scarface was pretty good as well. I really enjoyed this movie. I felt the runtime at times throughout this movie. Although I never felt bored, I could just feel the 3-hour runtime, And although there's some really high highs in this movie, I loved the ending. The ending of this movie is amazing and kind of just solidifies this as an even better movie, in my opinion. That final, 30 minutes, I would say, was really, really awesome, really impressive, and I really, really enjoyed it. And overall, it's funny to say this, but Scarface is actually kind of in the middle of the pack on my Brian De Palma list, which is probably not something you'd hear very often, but yeah, rated an 82 out of 100. Let's move on to Snake Eyes, which I ranked an 83 out of 100. Another Brian De Palma film. And crazy Nicolas Cage in this was absolutely awesome. I really, really enjoyed everything that he was giving us in this performance. Like I said, crazy Cage, that's just known as something, and I really enjoyed it. I had a really fun time with this movie as well, seeing the different levels of corruption. And that's one of Brian De Palma's strong suits, corruption in the American system. And yeah, I enjoyed it once again in this film. So 83 out of 100. Well, let's move on to another 2025 release, which is Weapons, which I ranked an 84 out of 100. And ultimately, I was really enjoying this movie. I really enjoyed the first hour of this movie. It really leaned into the horror vibes, which I had a great time with, especially those dream sequences, especially Justine's dream sequence. That one was really great. And yeah, I was really enjoying this. And then this movie kind of fully turned into a mystery, kind of even when we started to hit Josh Brolin's part. I don't even remember his character's name. Anyways, it kind of leaned more in towards the mystery rather than the horror, which is fine. I just kind of was really enjoying this much more as a horror movie than a mystery movie, but that's fine. I still did enjoy this. I also seen this in a back-to-back showing with another movie, which we'll talk about later. I seen this one right after the first movie, but yeah, had a great time with this movie, and still it's just outside my top 10 of the year. So 84 out of 100. Let's move on to how I started the week, which is Tales from Earthsea, which starting it off with an opening scene that is absolutely amazing that I really, really loved. And I know a lot of people don't like this movie, and a lot of people complain about the world building in this movie, but I personally really, really enjoyed this movie. Ranked it an 85 out of 100. I thought the world building was amazing, and also I think this might be the best animation from Studio Ghibli. So I really, really enjoyed this. This is actually in my top 10 Studio Ghibli as well, and I think this is better than some of Hayao Miyazaki's films as well. Of course, this is directed by Goro Miyazaki. So yeah, I this was a nice entry. I wasn't really anticipating a whole lot heading into this movie, considering the average on Letterboxd, but no, I really enjoyed this movie. Actually, 85 out of 100. Ugh, sorry. All right, let's move on to another 2025 release, which I also ranked at 85 out of 100, which is Drop. And this is honestly probably the biggest hot take of the year, especially for me. I loved this movie. I really enjoyed this movie, and I thought this was really great, actually. I had a great time with this movie. I mean, it's not like barrier breaking or anything, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I don't even know what to say. I thought especially the first like half of this movie, I was really locked in. I was very, very interested in what was going to happen and what was happening, and ultimately, I pretty much enjoyed everything about this movie. Ranked an 85 out of 100. Let's move on to Coach Carter, which I ranked at 87 out of 100. I've seen this movie before years ago. It's been a really long time. I truthfully don't even really remember much about it, but I had a wonderful time rewatching this movie. Ugh. Sorry. Sorry. It's time for bed. Yeah, I had a wonderful time rewatching this movie. I thought it was actually really, really great. And I love a true story about sports, a biopic about sports. I think every true story sports movie hits me in the feels in some way, and this was no different. Yeah, it just happens with every sports movie that's based on a true story, I find. So, yeah, 87 out of 100. All right, let's move on to what I believe to now be the top 5. Starting it off with Your Name, which I ranked an 87 out of 100 as well. And this is going to probably go down as one of my favorite anime movies, perhaps ever. I think I really need to and would like to rewatch this movie because it's gorgeous. It's probably the best looking anime movie I've ever seen. You know, I said earlier for Tales of Earthsea that it's probably the most pretty Ghibli film, but this is probably the prettiest anime movie I've ever seen. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's gut-wrenching, it's heart-wrenching, it is emotional, but it's so fantastic, and I really want to rewatch this movie. Ranked it an 87 out of 100. Can't say enough about this, to be honest. Well, let's move on to Blowout, which is the last of De Palma this week, and I kind of finished my goal for going through De Palma's filmography as well this week, which was nice. And yeah, this I ranked at 88 out of 100, and honestly, I'm going to say this is my favorite of Brian De Palma's filmography because I do have Mission Impossible ranked a 90 out of 100, but I really want to rewatch it. It's been a couple years since I watched it, and I feel kind of like towards the end of 2023, the like fall and winter of 2023 is when my ratings started to get better and they started to make a little bit more sense, especially like late 2021, all of 2022, and early 2023. I feel like some of my ratings are a little askew just because I feel like they don't really reflect what I would actually think about the movies now. So I really want to rewatch some of those movies and change some of those ratings. And this is something I would like to rewatch. This entire franchise, to be fair. Mission Impossible. But anyways, let's talk about Blowout. Blowout is a fucking amazing movie. I really, really enjoyed this movie. This was the most interested in any of De Palma's films I was. I was super, super locked in with this one. And obviously you can see the backdrop, but that final scene, that final like 15 minutes is insane. It's so fucking good. And De Palma is a genius with the American flag placement in every single one of his movies. It's amazing. Anyways, rank this an 88 out of 100. This is a really great movie, and I would recommend this one out of any De Palma film the most, which is probably interesting to say. Let's move on to the top 3 of the week and the theme I'm currently listening to. But let's talk about Shin Godzilla, which got a re-release in theaters this week, and I'm so happy I got to see this in theaters. I watched this for the first time earlier this year. Absolutely blew me away. Loved it. Ranked it a 92 out of 100. This time seeing it in theaters on the big screen, 94 out of 100. And I really, really loved seeing this movie on the big screen. It was awesome. Seeing the best Godzilla destruction in any film, the most Godzilla destruction in any film on the big screen was really, really awesome for this 4K re-release. And I gotta say, I would recommend this highly if you can go see it in theaters. Please, please do. This is a fantastic satire comedy as well, and it's really, really great. And it's some of the most destructive Godzilla scenes you'll ever see, and it literally will blow you away because it's insane. Yeah, really, really, really enjoyed seeing this in theaters. I'm glad I was finally able to. Let's move on to K-pop Demon Hunters, which I finally got Mel to sit down and watch this movie with me. Something I've been wanting to see since the day it came out. And holy fuck, man, I'm so glad we finally get to watch this. I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it a lot more than Mel did. And, sorry, I'm literally putting the soundtrack on right now because I need to listen to it. But I enjoyed it a lot more than Mel. I think Mel ranked this like an 80 or an 81 out of 100. Like, which is kind of low for her, although that's kind of started to fall like into her average. But yeah, I mean, this movie was fucking amazing, and I loved everything about this movie. It's not often I give a movie a 5-star after a first watch, and I did this time around. And it's supposed to come out in theaters this weekend, so I'm kind of thinking I might go see it again this weekend because I would love to see it in theaters. And the music, man, this honestly might go down as my favorite musical track list. It's fucking amazing. I love Golden. That was my favorite song after the watch, and then since then my new favorite is What It Sounds Like. I was listening to this on repeat consistently after watching this movie the next day, and yeah, this song is fucking amazing. That's what I'm listening to now. Yeah, anyways, love this movie. The animation is fantastic. Sony Pictures Animation just hits like every time right now. We got Spider-Verse, Mitchell's versus the Machines, then this. Like, they are on a crazy run right now. So, yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Love this movie. And now let's move on to my favorite film of the week, which I ranked a 98 out of 100, which is Godzilla Minus One. Something I've been wanting to rewatch ever since I watched it last year for the first time. And I'm so sad I never got to see this in theaters, but honestly, with me raising this from a 93 out of 100 to a 98 out of 100, it makes it my favorite Godzilla movie, my favorite foreign film, my favorite film directed by a Japanese. It's my number one on so many lists now. And it's crazy to think that this 98 out of 100 Godzilla Minus One is number 4 on my list of 2023 releases. I think 2023 for me is probably going to go down as one of the greatest years of film, in my opinion, because we have literally some of the biggest summer I maybe ever, honestly. We have Barbie, Oppenheimer, Across the Spider-Verse, The Flash, which I know people don't love, but I personally love. And I know I lost a lot of money, but it was also stuck between all of these movies, as well as Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, and yeah, what a summer. And just what a year. Scream 6, which I also love. Women Talking, which I also love. The Holdovers, which is the best Christmas movie ever made. And yeah, man, dude, I'm so in love with this movie. I love Godzilla Minus One so much. I hope I can see this in a theater one day. I really, really do. So, yeah, with that being said, thank you guys all so much for watching. Follow my letterbox, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.